Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Summerslam review. Now, I might do these out of order, because one, it's more easy to do the small matches, and two, because I'll begin to forget. But okay, first match, which is the pre-show. You have Antonio Cesaro against Santino Marella. And how did that match go? Pretty much like I thought. Antonio Cesaro and Santino had some decent chemistry in the ring. It was funny for two things in that match. One, seeing Santino power walk back and forth in the ring, that was funny. Two, during the match, Santino Marella was going to do the Cobra. Antonio Cesaro took that little stocky, destroyed it. Santino freaked out, got the edge, and surprisingly had one more shot. But instead of near his crotch, it was up his butt. But it didn't save him. He lost. Now I'm hoping, truly hoping, that we will have a mid-card feud for that title. Instead of seeing Antonio Cesaro being sent to Superstars or NXT and just disappear, and only see him once in a while on SmackDown and Raw, I would hope they keep him there, let him go after, let him work with Santino. Santino is a very good performer. He gets a very good response in the ring. I would hope they continue this, but to be honest, I don't think so. Now for the SummerSlam review, fully. First match, which I don't understand. You have the Time players with Kofi and R-Truth. They could have taken the United States Championship and stuck it in the program there. They didn't. And the Time players have now become really insignificant because AEW wasn't there. Good match though, at least to the point where it wasn't a huge box fest. Not very many boxes at all. Very clean, at least to the point where you can actually understand what's going on. The Time players lost. Kofi and R-Truth retained. Honestly, they didn't need to put it in SummerSlam. They didn't. It would have been better to have the United States Championship stuck in there. Next one. The IC title. Rey and The Miz. Now, I like Rey. Very good. And usually, he does a very good match. But I did notice that Miz put a lot more into this match than Rey did. That's what really saved the match. Because the way Rey looked, it wasn't like he was being lazy about it. But I'm guessing that maybe Rey was just letting Miz get more in to show that he has more potential. Yeah, he's a world championship, he's a United States championship and tag team championship, but really, being a main player really hasn't had a chance to show himself, especially he's been jobbing for so long. Because he has been jobbing before he did the Marine 3. So he did a lot of the work, and he won the match, which I believe was the best thing. If Rey had won that belt, it wouldn't be great, because Rey doesn't need that prestige. He doesn't really need it now. Next match, Daniel Bryan and Kane. Ooh. Both did a decent match. Seeing Kane go up against someone who's submissive, you don't get to see very often. If Kurt Angle was still there, he would be the only person. Jack Swagger is not known for submission to the point of other than that ankle lock. At least with Daniel Bryan, he can do more than one type of submission. At least I can say the match was good. It was. Seeing Daniel Bryan getting frustrated and smacking Kane in the face, now that did put an extra depth into it, because seeing Kane kind of looked legitimately kind of pissed off. Doesn't mean he was. But he did sell it decently well. And then getting Daniel Bryan to win by a roll-up when he was about to get chokeslammed again, that was okay. I was hoping after this that they would be over with one another, that this feud would be done. I understand that Kane got pulled into this when Daniel and Punk were after the belt, and AJ was interjected as well, but I was hoping it would be separate by now. I'd rather see both of these guys go off and do something else. That did not happen. It did. After seeing the backstage where Kane was chasing after Daniel Bryan, I knew from that pretty much It's not going to end this way, and AJ Lee's going to be interjected into it. She's going to be a part of it in some form or fashion, which is really kind of boring. I was hoping it would be over, but it's not. Next match, that is Dolph and Chris Jericho. I've heard a lot of people say that this is going to be probably the match of the night, possibly even the match of the year. I know the Off the Rope show was saying it, and from a couple of others said that it looks like it would be pretty good. I thought myself that this was going to be Dolph's crowning moment, because he's going to get a legitimate win against, even though he has not won anything, a main eventer. He may not always go for the title, but at least he's a main eventer wrestler, a main eventer player. That didn't happen. Dolph lost. And I can understand if you're going by a premise of old school, and old school would be like the heel always gets on the face, and eventually the face wins. But the thing is that Chris went from a heel to a face. And in this case, in both categories, he has not gotten a win. So he needed a win, but the point is that even though Dolph did get elevated a bit, showing that he has the heart to do something, it's just that in this case, Dolph really needed a win. Yeah, he got a win over Chris Jericho in another match about a week or so before this, but this is the match he really needed. He needed this match, and he didn't get it. Now the problem I see is this. With Dolph, unless he starts winning after this, that if they give him the strap, the world title, it's not going to mean anything. This would have been all for nothing. He needs to become more legitimate. Either he's got to have a whole bunch of wins, but by the time they finally give him the strap, I'm hoping they'll try and stick it on him by Survivor Series. I found out the next pay-per-view is Night of Champions. If they let him cash in next month, it'll be stupid. The best option would be the Royal Rumble or Survivor Series or Unforgiven, one of those two. Set off with something, because now it's ridiculous. There's no point in it. It would be, he wouldn't even need to go for the card with this. The best option for him would be either to start winning as a heel or get rid of Vicky, face a heel, and then turn face. I'm not saying he'll be a great face, but he needs a change. This is not working for him. Then we had a backstage promo with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. You know how Paul is. He's always good for his promos. He did a decent job with it. And honestly, it's set up for tonight, which I was actually surprised. But I'll get into that later. The next one, that would be ADR and Sheamus for the world title. Let's just say the match was not bad. Surprising to see what Sheamus did at the end of the match, that I'm kind of confused, wondering if he's going to turn heel or is he going to be a tweener. That's what I thought at the time. Now I know what it is. If you're going to go by how the storyline is, ADR had him beat up by 5 guys and got set up decently well. He set, not bad, sorry. Got set up decently well to get his ass whooped by 5 guys. I believe what Sheamus did would be kind of like payback, that when Ricardo Rodriguez threw the shoot, well, he was already in the ring, ADR had put him in the cross arm breaker. He managed to break out of it, and ADR was just so frustrated, he tried to take it out on Ricardo Rodriguez. The refs tried to kick him out of the ring. ADR tried to grab the thrown shoe of Ricardo, and Sheamus got it and whacked him in the side of the head, which was kind of funny. Surprisingly, ADR did not win this, and I know I hate Cole, but he is right, he did cheat. Pretty much Sheamus cheated, but you would say that this makes sense for the storyline because ADR screwed over Sheamus for the simple fact he was going to get a match. He got beaten up bad, got his arm really messed up, so it would be making some sense for the storyline. Next, Big Show, Punk, and Cena. And I can tell you, the one who looked the most dominant there was Big Show. It was like they told him in the back. They said, look, you have been pretty much holding back a lot, even though you show a lot of strength. These two have always shown a lot. We want you to make them look bad, at least in the beginning to the middle of the match. And they did. They looked really bad. In other words, finally, Big Show was allowed to show much more strength than he's ever been able to show. Not saying he hasn't shown it more over the years, but at least in this fact, he went through Punk's... sorry. Some noise outside. He broke Punk's signature move, submission, and then he broke Cena's signature move in submission. And then, and I forgot to say this, in the very beginning, when I saw Cena come out first, I knew it was something screwy, and I was right. You had Cena and Punk pull on both their submissions, Big Show taps out, and I knew there was something screwy. And I thought after that, Cena was going to win. I admit it. I thought Cena was going to win this. But when AJ came out and said, restart the match, Big Show chokeslammed them both. And I thought, it's going to happen. It did. AA came. But instead of Cena getting the pin, it was Punk. Okay. I'm shocked. I never expected him to win. Not a bit. I didn't expect it. But he did win. So that means they're trying to set a Punk with The Rock. That's what I figured right now. Which is a good thing. Because right now, they need to elevate Punk higher than what he is now. If they don't allow Punk to get more higher in positions next to Cena, I'm not saying they're going to put him right dead side Cena. Right now, Cena's king. But essentially, they need to bring him up. And that's the best way to do it. Finally, you have Triple H and Brock Lesnar. That was a very good match. You saw them do a somewhat wrestling match, but more Smash Mouth. And then you see Brock always trying to put the Gamora on to Triple H. I thought Triple H was going to win this, flat out. I did not think he was going to lose. I had not seen Triple H lose many matches. I haven't. Next to WrestleMania, it's very rare for Triple H to lose. But when supposedly Brock broke his arm, that was a surprise to me when he tapped out. Which kind of makes sense. And I'm going by what the Off the Rope show said in their pre-show. I mean their preview of SummerSlam. Brock needed a win to make him legitimate. If he's going to go up against someone else this coming year, if he's continuing staying in the company, he's needing this. He needs this win, which he got. The thing that's now confused, a very good question mark for me is, now that his arm is broken, and the way he acted in the ring, does that mean he is retiring? Or is this setting up something between him and Heartbreak Kid? Because this is a question mark. Brock broke Shawn Michaels' arm. Now he broke Triple H's arm. You could spur something on from there when both of them heal. Or you're going to say that maybe Triple H is retiring for a while. Or just taking a break. It's a big question mark. I wish to say that this was a decent show. That I would give this, not taking the primetime players, which really brought it down, and the surprise with Chris Jericho, I would give this almost near B. B minus. I would give this a B minus show. Because I would say B minus show. The Kane Bryan wrestling wasn't too bad. The Big Show, Punk, and Cena wasn't too bad, and I did see a strange thing in between the legs of Cena. If you look it over, it looked like he got himself a boner. But essentially, it looks like Randy Orton isn't by himself when it comes to getting horny. But essentially, I'd say a B minus show. It wasn't great, but it is much better than last year's SummerSlam. If you like this, subscribe and comment. You have a good day. And the dancing afterward about the theme song for Summerslam, I believe the Funkadactyls did a better job than anybody else. Take care.